Hi, everyone. In this episode, I'll talk about how many subjects you should learn or you can learn at university. Do you prefer to major in one specific subject, or do you prefer to learn as many subjects as you can? Well, it all depends. It all depends on your purposes, your interests, or your future plans or dreams. I'll discuss some major factors you might want to consider in determining how many subjects you should learn at university. Hope you think about it together with me. Just as many as half of the 18-year-olds in Japan, or if I can say throughout the world, not just in Japan, get into university after their high school education. But why do they go to university in the first place? Well, this is an even greater issue nowadays, considering how many successful entrepreneurs did not go to university or dropped out halfway through graduation. Some people even say that a college education does not affect their future at all. Many youngsters still go to university. I know that some of them only look for 4-year moratorium period. After all, their social status is solid once they have their ID for university. In a sense, they are given 4 free years in return for the tuition. Well, that sounds extreme, but there's a grain of truth in this remark. But here, for the sake of discussion, we will exclude such extreme cases and focus on what they have in mind as to what they will do at university. Many students want to learn one specific subject during their 4 years at college. That's because they attend university for one specific purpose. As for me, I got into university in 1987, which is why my student ID number began with 87, blah, 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 with the hope of becoming a lawyer, believe it or not, just like anyone else in those days. It was evident that I chose to learn in the Department of Law. In those days, we did not have a law school as we know it now. Young people or young ambitious people got into the Department of Law, and later a lucky few passed the bar exam to practice law. The rest landing a job with companies that did not require specific legal knowledge. Little did I dream of working as an English teacher when I got into university. My focus was on learning law. Contrary to what I dreamed of, as soon as I started school, I paid most of my attention and interest to learning English. And that moment was the end, the very end of my initial hope of practicing law. The bar exam, as I understand, was and still is not something you could pass while you had a lot of interests at the same time. To sum up, I made a mistake in deciding on my major. Well, probably this is because I only accepted what other people wanted me to study. I understand now such a passive attitude will get you nowhere. Sooner or later, you will regret your decision. As for me, I would major in English if I were to start university again. In any case, people go to university because they have one practical purpose in mind. If you want to learn many subjects to broaden your perspectives, that would be, I would say, a tall order. because you've got only 4 years. How many years have you spent, by the way? How many years have you spent on learning English? And what is the result? See, 4 years is too short to do many things at the same time. University students should focus on one thing and keep learning it until graduation. When they graduate, they'll be considered experts. That would be better for the students, the companies they join, and the society itself. In addition to this practical reason, I can mention a little bit of fulfillment and satisfaction in focusing on one subject. I always regret not having majored in English because I learned it all by myself from my sophomore year until now. Now, yes, I could have learned even more and more efficiently from various professors if I had majored in English. I would have learned English literature, which I had virtually no opportunity to learn back then. If English literature is a required course, you would have to learn it, like it or not. Just as I learned Western legal philosophy, even though I had little interest in it back then. Well, I do now. So majoring in one subject at university means a lot. Once you set your goal, you've got all the professors and facilities necessary to pursue your academic interest. There's no other place on the planet that satisfies your desire like this. Then why do others argue students should learn several other subjects simultaneously while at a university? Let's start with a very failure I experienced, as I said earlier. As much as I was a law student, my interest was focused on learning English at university. If I were allowed to learn a range of other subjects, I would have taken more English courses, including linguistics or English education, which would make a huge difference in my current job. Truth be told, I was interested in many other subjects like literature, astronomy, math, or the Russian language. Back in those days, for example, I still remember this, my high school math, prior to 1987, high school math didn't teach the complex plane. I learned it for the first time in a college math course, and I found it interesting. Just like this, new findings and new knowledge in different academic fields were shown in front of my eyes day after day. I still remember the excitement with which I would encounter them. Again, a liberal arts education means a lot. It does broaden your perspectives. You'll absorb a lot more than you would expect. By the time you graduate, you'll have become a knowledgeable person who shows appreciation and curiosity in the face of new things. That kind of curiosity does make a difference at work. The liberal arts, if done properly, can be the foundation on which to build an intellectual life on your own. True, my university offered all those different subjects to all students. No matter what their major was, they were allowed to take whatever courses interested them. Then why did I not take anything from the liberal arts as a legal student? Well, the answer is obvious. There was so much to do in the Department of Law. As I said, I had to read Western legal philosophy, but not only that, I had to read patent law and labor law, in addition to the basic laws like the Constitution and civil law. All of them, all of them, this is a very important part, all of them were tested. I had to pass the test, and I have to get sufficient credits to fulfill graduation requirements. Had it not been for the tests, naturally, I would have taken other courses. But in reality, I could not afford it, and neither could others. It is thus that if I could choose now, I would make a different choice than I did back at university. Or would I? You are still 18 when you get into university. Just think. Students decide on their major when they are still in high school. No one would like to limit their future because of the decision they make at 18. Look at me. At age 55, I regret to say this, at age 55, I'm still looking for an opportunity to study in an English-speaking country. Anyway, the university is responsible for broadening students' perspectives and giving them many windows of opportunity for the future. If universities only allowed their students to major in one subject, it would limit the opportunity to explore various academic interests. As far as education and learning are concerned, there's only a beginning. There's no end. Just like the infinite, ever-expanding universe. Understandably, many people call it a journey.